Stop.
One of the things that's really important in half guard is understanding when you need to be framing and when you need to be trying to get closer to the person and decreasing distance. So the ranges of guard, the ranges of half guard, the ranges of passing, it's all kind of related to what you do at which distance and understanding at which distance you're fighting, right? So we talked about half guard earlier. We mentioned the Z shield or quarter guard. We also mentioned this high knee shield guard as being one of the further ranges of half guard. Right? And you can transition back and forth between them, right? Or this person that you're fighting with can force you to transition back and forth, right? But a lot of times when you're here and the attacks that are from the further range guard aren't working, right? Maybe the person's really hiding their arms, right? They're doing a good job of maintaining pressure, so you can't get your bottom leg back. But they're also not really engaging. You can just get closer by swimming your arm under, bringing your head close, and then using your whole body to kind of pop this person forward and get a nice deep underhook, and also your head on the chest. While your head on the chest, because if you leave some space here, you have an opportunity for the person to bring one of their arms on your neck, right, to reframe, to get some space, and to get the underhook to flatten you out. Because remember, whenever we're playing half guard, we don't really want to be on our backs, right? We want to always be on our side if we can. If we're on our back, it's only because we're playing really deep half guard, right? That's the only time we should be on our back, really, when we're playing half guard, unless we got forced into that position. So we want to try to get on our side. We want to try and hide our shoulder, especially. Sometimes people do a poor job with the underhook, and they just have their shoulder in from here. It's possible for the person to use that to flatten me out. For example, I'm going to be flat again, especially if the person's tall and they're grabbing my waist like this. It really sucks because both sides of my hip are restricted, and I can't hip escape anymore. So when I get to this underhook position, I really have to make sure I'm deep, and I like to use my top knee on the butt right here. So let's turn a little bit. Every time I get in trouble, I have to make sure that this knee, I can use that to kind of make a little space. Now, the first thing that I like to show people from here, and this is the first thing I ever learned to do in jiu-jitsu predictably, is to get the back. When you have the underhook, you just got to pop your head out. One of your hooks is already in place. You just climb the back and make a seatbelt right away. Very simple. Okay? It's always my number one go-to from that position. Now, what happens a lot of times is that as you're trying to go for the underhook, the person starts pushing into you, right? They're trying to flatten you out with their chest. So when that happens, I like to grab the hip with my hand. And now see my elbow. Important detail that I didn't mention earlier. When I'm playing this kind of half guard, I cannot let this person grab my bottom arm and control it, okay? I need that arm free to move so I can move my shoulder around, and also I actually have my shoulder free to slide around to the back, right? If he's grabbing my arm, every time he pulls on my arm, he's preventing me from turning the corner to his back. So I got to fight that, make sure I have that free. Right? If I try to go for the back and they start pushing into me, I'm just going to use that to switch, bring my hand to the knee, and follow the person all the way. Finish on top, right into a good guard passing position. Okay? Now let's come back. Sometimes, when I do that, it doesn't really work, right? But I do have a lot of space to bring the hook in for the butterfly. So if you have a good butterfly guard, from here, it's very easy to start controlling, even just the wrist, start threatening the butterfly, and either continuing the hook sweep, or to use that to set up to go to a different guard, right? Like going inside, spinning for the back. So there you have another option from that deep underhook guard. Right. And finally, when you get here, another really good option is if you can get your hands low on the hip, and again, use your top knee to kind of bump the person up. If you can grab the foot or not, even just the crease of the hip, and your bottom arm is free, if you can posture up, start turning with me. Sometimes people start turning with you. A lot of times you can hook with your bottom leg and drag the leg as you post, and then drive with your shoulder into their hip to finish the sweep as well. So there's a couple of options from that deep underhook, half guard. When you get to that position, that's a very strong position for attacks, especially the back. Combining back attacks and sweeps is a great way to improve your position from there and to get something juicy. Cool. So next one.